Hey guys, welcome to Ask Laird's Training episode 8. I wanted to approach this question and this ask on episode 8. And a lot of guys have been asking me about this stuff, similar to a lot of questions that I have. But specifically, one of my players was asking me this question, and this is for the pitchers today. And the question is, Coach Laird, I've been having trouble throwing strikes lately, and I was wondering what I could do on my own to help me throw more strikes and be more consistent when I pitch. I feel like my coach isn't helping much, and we rarely work on things. There are a lot of players that are having the same issues as me. So basically, the answer to this is going to be 3 reasons why you're not throwing strikes. And these also, the same 3 reasons are going to be the things that you can do to help you throw more strikes. And I'm not going to mention the kid's name because obviously I don't want his coach to get upset. Here's the thing, and this isn't just the specific client that is asking me this question, because there's a lot of guys that I coach in the Indiana Bulls that have the same issue, and there's a lot of guys that I've trained over the last 8 years that have this issue when they go in season. And most of the guys that work with me as clients, they'll do lessons the off season, they'll go to season. There's different types of clients that will do their lessons all throughout season, and they'll take a break after the season, they get right back in the off season, and they'll go from there. So there's a bunch of different factors and a bunch of different reasons why guys will struggle, and there's a bunch of different factors and reasons why guys will excel. And here's the thing, there's 3 reasons why I'm going to give you these. I'm going to answer this without talking about mechanics. I feel like mechanics are talked a lot too much, and for a lot of coaches, mechanics are subjective. But there's 3 reasons without giving you this, hey, this is the fix-all cue for mechanics. This drill right here is going to help you out. These 3 things are going to pretty much solve these issues about throwing strikes. And you can add a 4th one, which is a mental aspect, but I'm not going to touch on that today. But the first thing is, 1, you're not throwing enough. And what I mean by throwing enough is you're not throwing your long toss in season. You're not maintaining your arm strength and your arm care in season. And if I'm a track athlete, okay, and I'm preparing myself, say let's X-nay the track athlete. Say I'm a marathon runner and I'm preparing for a marathon. If my training isn't constantly preparing me for that marathon, when I get to the day of running that marathon, my body's going to break down and I'm going to fall apart, okay? And going back with the track athlete perspective, if I'm running a 400-meter dash, and that's my event, and I'm not preparing and training for the 400-meter dash, when it comes to going to my meets on those days that I have those meets and those events, I'm not going to be physically prepared for that. I have to train for that. So saying that, if I'm expected to train and to pitch multiple times a week, okay, and my arm is not in shape to do that, and I'm taking 2 or 3 days off a week from not throwing at all, that's an issue. My arm will break down. You can't lift in the weight room, okay? And I use this analogy all the time. Oh, I'm sore. I can't lift today because I'm sore. What? That doesn't make any sense. You have to be throwing your long toss. And there's different forms of long toss. You can do your max effort long toss where you go out as far as possible and you're letting it loose when your arm's feeling really good. A lot of guys will do that on game day. And then you can have a medium effort long toss where you're about somewhere between that 60 to 75, 60 to 80% where you're just stretching it out, okay? And then there's other forms of long toss where maybe you're not going out that far. It's a low intensity effort. You're a little sore, you threw the other day, or maybe you threw the day before, because some guys will throw the day before, some guys will take the day after. Some guys will take the day off after. I'm preferably of a guy that you take 1 day off a week and it's the day after you pitch a long game, like say 7 or 8 innings. You get up to 85, 95 pitch count, whatever your pitch count is for your team. That next day is focused on sprint work, big time heavy lift, and you're doing a lot of your prehab and your band work that very next day. And that would be the only day that I would recommend guys don't throw. Some guys, I had a kid that's pitching at Lipscomb, Max Hobegger's his name actually, and he would throw every day. He'd throw the day after he pitched, and he had a rubber arm, and he was very, 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 very good. He's obviously a Division I pitcher now, but the guy loved to throw, and he was throwing flight grounds, which I'm going to touch on here in a little bit, to kind of help him be consistent. So there's different variations of this, but here's the thing. The guys that are most successful and the guys that find the zone, the guys that are consistent on the bump day in and day out, they don't have these, oh, I'm on one day and then the next day I'm off, or I'm off 2 days in a row. when it comes to pitching, and then I'm on one day. If you're consistent with your long toss, your arm's in shape, and you're throwing consistently, your arm's gonna feel good when you're on the mound, okay? You don't just lift, okay, and get sore and say, I'm sore, I'm not gonna lift the rest of the week. That's not how it works. You've got to train. Guys are undertrained and they're being overutilized, right? And I'll talk about this with my pitching coach, the Indiana Bulls, all the time, and Bart Carter. And guys are not preparing themselves. They're not doing anything on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then they go Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for summer ball, and then they're throwing on these days, and they're doing nothing on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And of course you're not going to be consistent. Of course you're not going to feel good. Of course your arm's going to be a little inconsistent. Of course your body's not going to be on time and have the sync that it's supposed to. So number one, you have got to take care of your arm. You have to throw more to feel better, okay? You've got to get your body and your arm in shape to feel better. And feeling better, you will be more consistent at throwing your strikes, getting your pitches in the zone, and feeling good when you're on the bump. Now, number two, guys are not throwing flat grounds enough. I'm a huge advocate of flat grounds. When we do our pitching lessons, 90% of the time we are doing a lot of flat ground work. And we master a lot of mechanical issues on the flat ground position, but when you get done with your long toss before a game, and I always talk about my guys working on changeups because I feel like changeups, especially at the lower age levels, are not worked on enough to master. If you're having trouble with certain pitches, your flat ground is not a maxed effort work. It's nice and easy, it's nice and smooth. You can be anywhere between about 40, 50, 60, 70%, just nice and smooth, and you're playing catch with your partner. Your partner, you guys go out and say you throw your long toss for the day. You come back in, you're about 60 feet. Okay, you come back in a little bit more. Maybe you're at 40 feet now and say, hey, let's work on a flat ground. So there you are. You're working out of your stretch. You're working out of your windup. You're working on your slide step. You're working on some timing issues you may be having. You're working on getting the ball down in the zone. You're working on your changeup. You're working on your curveball. You're working on these pitches and getting, and this is the most important part, you're getting proprioception and you're getting feel for these pitches. That is most important, is if you don't have the feel and proprioception of what you're doing, especially flat ground, right? You're not gonna be able to do it on the bump, okay? It's a low intensity effort exercise, low intensity effort drill, flat ground is, that has huge maximum benefits that can transfer over to the mound, okay? If you're not consistently working flat grounds, here's the thing. If your coach isn't scheduling flat grounds, if your coach isn't scheduling bullpens, which I'm going to get to here in a minute, you've got to take responsibility for yourself and you've got to get these flat grounds in and work on all your pitches. The more that you do this, the more that you're working on your flat ground work, the better feel, the better proprioception, more comfortable you're going to be on the bump, okay? And lastly, bullpens. Guys are not throwing bullpens enough. You cannot go back to the track analogy, okay? If I'm a 100-meter and a 200-meter event runner, all right? If I'm never training for those, I can't show up on meet day and have the confidence and the comfort level of killing it in that event. You've got to prepare. So if I'm not constantly throwing on the mound, and I'm throwing on the mound once a week or maybe once every 2 weeks, which I'll get to here in a minute, I'm not going to feel comfortable there. I'm not going to be able to find the zone. I'm not going to be able to throw strikes. I'm not going to have feel on my pitches. I'm not going to have the feel on my changeups. You've got to be able to get your bullpen work in. Here's the thing. For some reason, high schools, they're not doing bullpen work, and guys are getting about 7 to 10 days from when they're on the bump from day 1 to day 2. And it's inexcusable, but here's the thing. Every profession has people that excel and do great and help encourage and lift athletes up, okay, and lift people up. In baseball, we have some of those coaches that are not helping their athletes, and they care more about their win-loss record and getting trophies than developing athletes. And part of developing those pitchers is getting those bullpen sessions in and making that mandatory as a coach. So here's the thing. You have got to get a partner, a buddy, a guy that catches. You know, flat grounds are going to help you out a ton already, but you've got to throw your 25, your 30 pitch bullpens. You've got to get those feels for those pitches. If I'm not throwing those bullpens, there's no way when I get on the bump, I'm going to have that confidence when there's a guy in the box standing against me ready to attack and ready to kill whatever I'm throwing. You've got to build yourself up into an elite athlete by preparing for your sport. In this case, for pitchers, you've got to prepare in a bullpen to get on a mound in a game. If you're not throwing those bullpens, and here's the thing, I don't want to say it's all your fault, because it's not all your fault, because your coach should be utilizing this into the program. And it's sad that some coaches are not doing this, they're not doing their jobs. However, you've got to take some responsibility as a pitcher, as an athlete, as a young man. You've got to make sure that you're getting in these sessions, these bullpen sessions, these flat grounds, these long toss sessions, so your arm feels good, you have your proprioception on all your pitches, you have the feel on all your pitches, you know where you're missing in the bullpen, and you can make those adjustments. Hey, my curveball's missing a little high, I'm going to start it a little bit lower here, and then boom, it's going to be in the zone in the right spot. Or maybe my changeup's kind of faulting and I'm pushing it, so I can work on the turn, I can work on the feel when I'm throwing in the bullpen. So guys, I'm kind of went into a rant a little bit. And again, this isn't one specific guy. There's a bunch of guys that ask me this stuff, but it was brought up to me with one of my players recently. And I want to help him out, but I want to help out as many people as I can in this aspect of things. And you've got to hold yourself accountable. If you're not throwing those bullpens, if you're not doing your long toss, and you're not doing your flat ground work with your buddies, you're not going to have your feel and not going to be comfortable on the mound. So that right there, just doing those three things, mechanics aside, I didn't want to talk about mechanics in this video because first of all, we've got to make sure that we're doing the preparation and we're going to make sure our program is done correctly. And those two things are most important. If you're not doing those little things, those three things, you will not be consistent at throwing strikes. You will not feel the difference between a ball and a strike, and that's a huge issue, is feeling the difference in a release or feeling your body. And when you release a ball, that didn't feel right versus when it does feel right and you're hitting your spots, guys. So Ask Laird's Training Episode 8, 3 reasons why you're not throwing strikes and you're not consistent on the mound. Make sure you guys are utilizing those 3 things. Until next time, guys, see you later.